My name is Marc Barron. I'm a vice president of a technology company. We build solutions using technology for educators, schools, and students. And what I like to say is we're software people. Korsky is not just an app or a technology. We build software to solve people's problems. I grew up in the high desert. I spent my early years in Barstow, California, and then I spent my middle school years and high school years in Victorville. And we were taught that you had to be tough, right? You had to be tough every day. There wasn't a lot of success around us, right? And there wasn't anybody that came from those areas that were really successful and talked about success or even talked about college. There was really no path. Nobody in my family knew how to get to college. There wasn't like a template or something that they referred to or a friend that they called on. So it wasn't anything where I completely walked away from that life. And even throughout high school, and even as I was, getting opportunities for scholarships for football, I was still getting in a lot of trouble. I still made bad decisions a lot of times, naturally, because of who I was surrounded with. Sports was my way out. Sports was my ticket to college. I went out to Iowa and played in Iowa and played football in Iowa. It wasn't my favorite place. I didn't really fit in. It was tough. It was a transition. And then I got hurt. I took too many blows to the head. I had some brain injuries. So I quit football, turned in my pads, and they took away my scholarship. And I came home. So I went from, a really good trajectory to being lost for a little while. After a few years of taking different jobs and trying to figure out what it is that I liked, I went back to school. And when I went back to school, I went back to the school with a different mentality. Did the same thing I did in high school. I got involved. I joined Model United Nations and started to surround myself with academics. I was focusing on bettering myself, and I put myself in a position to accept an opportunity when it came. I didn't go to school to be an engineer, but I translate what people want to the engineers so that they build the right thing. So that's what we do, is we figure out where is there opportunity to make someone's life easier. And that's what we go and build. When I would go to, these big events where there's millionaires, billionaires, right? And nobody that looked like me in those events, right? I definitely stood out in those events. And that kind of created a little bit of imposter syndrome for me. I would always get really nervous about conversations that I would have because I know people would look down at my tattoos. They would look down at my arm and automatically knew that my parents probably didn't come from those circles. Or I tried to oversell why I should be there. I never felt like this is where I'm supposed to be. I had to tell myself, like, you've earned it. You belong here. But I actually had to tell myself that daily because I would doubt myself on a regular basis. I started to realize that I bring value to the room. I bring value to these conversations. And these conversations are different without me here. It wasn't until the people in those circles wanted to know more about me and meet with me outside that I realized I made it and I belong in these circles. But I recommend to kids to really expose themselves to as many things as possible when they're young so they get a good sense of what they should focus on when they go into college. Expose themselves to business classes, expose themselves to the engineering side, expose themselves to marketing. Really focus on being a creator, okay? A lot of people focus on being consumers. Be focused on being creative. Don't think that you only have one opportunity in life to be successful. Know that if there's adversity that you have to overcome, you have other options, and you got to keep growing, you got to keep exploring and never stop.